Hello, dear Starshines. Christina here with Rise of the Multidimensional Human. Welcome to today's Lunchtime Chats. Today, we are here to talk about, I have some questions from our loyal listeners here. The first question is from dear sister Nasika, where she has asked me to talk more about water. And she means specifically more about the mystical properties of water and the consciousness of water and its impact on the human experience and our consciousness as well. So I'm going to be talking about, darling, I'm happy to talk more about water because this is a massively important part of our lives as humans, but also our lives as multidimensionals in a biosuit. Our relationship with water is very important. So I'll talk about that. And then dear sister Hodai asked, this was a great question. And this is something that I too recently, I've experienced this, but recently something has shifted with the experience. And this is what she's asking. She's saying that there's a few times in the past few months during meditation or in between falling asleep where she found herself in a void. Like there was nothing. It was complete dark, no sound, no movement, nothingness, only her awareness. And her thoughts, and she was wondering if this is a real place. And I really am excited to talk about this because this is yes, and there's more. And I feel like this is showing something really monumental for humanity that's coming forward right now. So I'm super delighted to be talking about that. And then we have dear sister Laurel. She says, I'm curious about the entourage being made up of beings that could be or are ourselves, but at the same time, them being present for us personally, but also for a higher agenda. So that's dear sister Laurel that wants me to talk more about that. So welcome everybody to the Lunchtime Chats. I'm Christina, the acceleration expert. I am here to to share the liberated perspective on topics and issues that are significant to us starseeds, way showers, and new paradigm visionaries. So glad to be here with you guys. So for those who are new to the conversation, I answer these questions, but first I activate the multidimensional lenses that are within our system. So the energy that we're sitting in will allow for us to explore and hear and listen to perspectives that are not in the usual human perspective. Okay. So this is changing more and more and more as more multidimensionals come online and more multidimensionals stay in their presence and navigate their lives. Then, these liberated perspectives will be more and more common. But right now we're front wave runners. So we're at that time of change and we're we're the ones on the front wave of experiencing the change and exploring it and anchoring it in for others to benefit. So when I activate these lenses, those of you who've been listening to this conversation for a long time, it's very easy to stay in attention. And in fact, a lot of times you're really glad to reconnect with these energies. But for other people, it's a little bit difficult to pay attention or difficult to sit with what I'm activating. And that's why I'm talking about this now is that the reason why this happens is because I'm activating these dimensions, these levels of your awareness that there's a lot of programming and resistance to. So there's a lot of counter currents going in the opposite direction. So I open these up and activate them for you, but these opposite currents are really geared towards keeping them shut down and keeping the lens dimmed. So that manifests as not being able to sit or pay attention or stuff like this. So if you notice that happening, you can shift your awareness by going into the heartbeat, and that will calm the nervous system and pretty much calm the systems of your body, and then you can process the energies that I'm activating here. That's just a recommendation. I've had a few folks respond to me and let me know that they had a lot of adverse responses to the dimensions, and I just want to put my finger on why. Okay. And a lot of people are drawn to this work, but it's so different than what they've known before. It's a little bit jarring. Let me pause real quick and say hello to all the star shines coming on board. Hello, darlings. Oh, good. Everybody's getting it. All right, Carol. Hello. Hodai. Hey, darling. And Tony. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Michelle. Congratulations. Michelle's a new grandma yesterday, or that might have been the day before. So congratulations. Dear sister Shelly. Hello. Nasika and Laurel. Hello. And Laura. All right. There's a couple of comments that are just Facebook user. And that's because there's an approval. There's a link that you have to click on to approve for StreamYard to see your identity. Just so you know that. That's why I'm not saying your name out loud. All right, darlings, let's jump in. We have some really great things to be talking about today. Get myself focused here. There's a lot of energy moving. There's a lot of activity in the dimensions. Some of you guys might be having a hard time sleeping. Some of you may have a hard time paying attention or even just being present in your life. All of this is because that energy is moving. Places where we felt like we had a stable foundation are no longer there. They're just all of a sudden gone. I'm talking about foundations to our perspectives of who we think we are, how we think reality is on the outside. Did you ever wake up and feel completely different about your life and the stuff in front of you? Okay, that's this energy that's shifting and moving. The very foundations of who we think we are in this world, that all that is changing. And as a result, this entire world is changing. Nothing is staying the same. The structures that were are reversing or completely gone. So how do we navigate these confusing times? By getting clear on our compass. What is our compass? How do you engage with the compass, right? And what is that compass telling you? That's how you do it. Oh, are we back to being blurry again? Let's see. I think last time I exited and came back. So I'm going to do that again, guys, because I'm all blurry. It's not good. Let's see if that's better. That didn't change it, did it? All right, we're clear again. All right. I don't know why it does that blurry thing. That's kind of strange, isn't it? Okay, so let me just adjust this a little bit so my head's not cut off. All right. I just don't like it when my head gets cut off because, there's good stuff coming. I'm kidding. All right, so let's go ahead and activate. Oh, we're going blurry again, aren't we? It could be my movement. Is that okay now? All right, one more time. I'm going to exit and come back. Okay, here we go. It's clear. All right, I'm going to dive in now to the activation. Oh boy, look at that. Look at that. It's all cloudy again. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry that Okay, we're clear. Okay, last time. I'm going to try not to make any big movements so it doesn't get blurry. Okay, so we're going to start with the axis. The axis, we'll say, is an equivalent to your intent. Your intent, not just as a human, but your intent as an infinite being having an individuated fractal experience. So you start off as a whole and then fractal down into different avenues of life streams. Okay. Now, we explain this in language with like past life, future life. You know what I mean? We talk about different lives, different experiences, but really this fractal thing is happening all at once. So in the here and now, the fractality state that you're experiencing is different than the here and now that you just had 10 minutes ago, or it can be anyway. Okay. So when you're addressing all of these levels of who you are in a multidimensional way, that you shift things in that fractal, and the wholeness that is in the here and now shifts and changes. So this axis is the original intent for becoming so. Okay. And at the base of this axis is where you have become so, which is on the Pachamama, the core, the earth. And the earth, and I mean this in a multidimensional way, in a living being way, in a soul level way, the earth you have an agreement with to be here. This intent, infinite being going through fractality, becoming so, you are here because you and her over here already made the agreement for you to come and be here. So this is the 1D lens. This is the lens that is at the base of the perineum. The base of the perineum is a very sensitive spot on the human body, and it's also closely tied into our reproductive sexual connections. So it has a lot of primal life force with it, but it also has our first cell of connection with the mother, with your mother, but also the great mother, Pachamama. So the perineum, if you sensitize it by either feeling it or doing Kegels and squeezing it or breathing life force energy into it, and when you start doing that, you are bringing online that level of your consciousness into your awareness. Now, it's always there. It's just you're not always aware of it. Okay. So when you do these kinds of things to stimulate and activate, you are bringing your awareness to that. And as you bring your awareness to it, it starts to shift and change the consciousness, that lens that is in the perineum. So it's very easily activated by just paying attention to it, breathing into it, okay, and doing things like this. Now, this is also where I talk about where you can find the doorway to the songs of the mother in the perineum. So those of you that know how to do that, you can go ahead and activate that now. See, it's very soothing and sweet and comforting and embracing when the songs of the mother come into one's awareness. It's just by having contact with your awareness. Now, you can actually be hearing songs or seeing songs, but most people just have a knowing or a felt sense or a feeling of it. Okay. As soon as your awareness has the feeling, with it comes this nice big smile and this luscious hug almost. Okay. So this is how powerful your being is influenced by the kinds of things you bring into your awareness. Okay, that's how powerfully your being is influenced by the kinds of things you bring into your awareness. By just bringing your awareness to the perineum, it activates. Just bringing your awareness to the songs of the mother, the systems of your body respond. Okay. Your beingness responds. The smile becomes easy. Your system is now more relaxed. You see what I mean? So just by touching this with your awareness, you are having a biosuit feedback loop. Okay. This is really important, especially when we noticing those kinds of things, especially when we get up to the higher dimensions. Now, one dimension isn't better than the other. They all work in concert to create our experience. Because it's all nesting dolls within each other. So it's a concert of energies, of fractalities coming together to create our here and now experience. And this is just the foundation that experience is built on right now. Okay, the songs of the mother. And from that foundation, all of your beingness echoes out. Okay. Okay, let's get to this. Smooth this one out here. Okay. Now you guys got what I said there about from that center beingness that you are emanates out. Okay. So the reality is created coming in. This is the reflection. And then there's the reality coming out. That's your truth. Okay, so that's all right. So we have the lens of the Pachamama, the heart and mind consciousness of Pachamama, the yes, for her to bring your dream into her dream. And then you have the telluric realm. This is the realm of atoms and molecules. That's the language of covalent bonding. It is the language of chemical reactions. It's the language of ionic exchanges. It's the language of cells coming together to create a tissue, that come together to create an organ, that come together to create a system. So our very body biosuit reflects the system within system within system within system kind of reality. All of that is telluric space, telluric intelligence. Telluric intelligence as the viruses, the bacteria. Okay, it is the place where elemental consciousness comes and interacts with the foundation and formulates itself. Okay, so there's that kind of connection. Telluric realm is also the consciousness of stone people, mountain people, crystal people, all these. So this telluric realm is very rich. It is sort of dense, but it's not so dense where it's a bad thing, or that's not the wrong word. It's dense, but it has a purpose that is in truth with its nature. So therefore it is perfectly harmonic with all these other levels. So this nature that has to get expressed is anchored deep inside of our telluric intelligence of our biosuit. Okay. And then, so the telluric realm, there's the nature that are the elements, but then there is also our belief systems and our thoughts that interact with those elements and also influence the expression of their nature. Now, when you are experiencing a lot of illness in the body or what have you, that is what happens when part of you is not allowing the true natural expression that is within you, like this. So that's on a soul level, but that's also on a telluric level. That's also on a biosuit level, right? So our biosuit gives us the five senses, but then we also have our emotions and our thoughts and all these. These are all frequencies that create our experience. So when there is nature inside of us, like say we have a big fire inside, if we don't express that fire inside, we'll begin to get sick. We'll close down. That energy will close in on itself. Okay. So the nature, the very beingness that is inside of our bodies, it's very important for us to be in contact with that and give it expression, because that expression of that nature has a momentum to it and it carries us forward. It's like a momentum that contributes to the life force that's flowing through you versus life force that's getting captured by you, captured by your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and all that stuff. Okay. So the telluric realm is, in my personal assessment, when you're paying attention and listening to the telluric realm, is a path of enlightenment. It can be, because it takes a deep level of alignment with your yes and all of this, and to have a happy harmonic relationship with the telluric realm, to have a happy harmonic relationship with my body. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. All right, then we get to our 3D reality. Our 3D reality, we got this, right? That's that's space. That's you throw a rock and it travels through space. Now, our reality has certain laws that we believe are unbreakable, unshakable laws. So we might call them the laws of physics, stuff like this. So the 3D is our playground, is the human playground. Humans are the keepers of the quality of the 3D experience. So if you're experiencing a very closed down 3D experience, right, that is done by the human thoughts, minds, that's done by the human constructs. If you have a magical 3D experience, that is you being in harmony with these other levels of who you are, right? And then magic is alive in your life. 3D is quite literally whatever you make it to be. Now, that's not to say that there isn't awful things happening in this world, because I think we can all agree there's a lot of terrible things happening. There's a lot of miracles going on too, but we don't see that because it's the bad things that gives us the drama and the juice. But really, we are the ones who create this. We humans are the ones that create the 3D reality. So on some level, if there's, if some level there's a volcano exploding and your entire village is about to get wiped out, there is a part of that village, the consciousness of that village, the infinite beings and biosuits of that village actually had a hand in contributing to that reality unfolding. I know that's triggering a lot of victim stuff for you guys, but do understand this. This is why there were tribal ceremonies to appease the volcano gods or to appease the rock movers or stuff like this. It's like the understanding that we have of it is distorted. Really, on some level, those people really understood their connection with the land, and the land was expressing something in a way that made that the volcano had to explode. But at the same time, they understood that there was something they could be doing to allow that expression to come out in a different way. It didn't have to come out in a volcanic explosion. It could come out in, say, this multidimensional portal over here, or, by the tribes working out their trauma around this thing that happened over here. You see what I mean? So there's a lot in this 3D that we are in charge of. We are on a universal level put in charge of what happens. So 3Ds, our humans, are the keepers. Not very good keepers right now, but they are definitely, they're designated keepers, caretakers of this reality. Then we have our fourth dimension, 4D, which is the collective conscious. It's linear time. It's also synthetic time. It's anything that we have collective agreements on of things being a reality. It's also the shadow constructs and a lot of the control systems that we have. So the power of a story is considered a fourth dimensional an engagement. So there's a lot to be said about this. So when we talk about stories, right? Disempowering stories versus empowering stories. What's the difference? The difference is a disempowering story is a story that there are thoughts that it's a story that your awareness touches. And when your awareness touches it, you spiral into some kind of loop and you get locked in somewhere. Okay. You're now disempowered. So the story that we're given that we were created by God and that we are sinners. Okay. You can see the disempowerment in that story. When that's something that enough humans on the planet agree about, that becomes an influential creative force in our reality. Okay. But the fact is, those of us who are waking up to our multidimensional level, we understand that to be a total lie and a part of the control system imposed on humanity for an agenda. Okay, so you can also be told stories that lift you up and actually touch and allow your awareness to touch all that is within you. Okay, that's an empowering story. That's a story that connects you with a greater aspect of yourself that's beyond the human experience. That's something that's getting you that much closer to touching your infinite nature. Okay, so the 4D, it's in its very nature, is actually a helpful layer within this nesting doll of creation. Okay, of all the different nesting organizing forces. But what's happened is that it's been infiltrated with lies and falsehoods that were meant to blind us from certain aspects of who we are. And that is why the 4D is such a disempowerment zone for humanity, is because of these lies. And they've been there for thousands upon thousands of years. So people just go back 5,000 years, right? And I want to let you guys know it's way older than that, okay? I mean, this goes beyond even Atlantis Lemuria drama. But it took time to evolve because it's a lie stacked on top of a lie, stacked on top of a lie, stacked on top of a lie. So it creates this really intricate matrix of disempowerment. Now, we as multidimensional beings have the ability to cut through that matrix. How do you cut through that matrix? By knowing the truth. And I don't mean knowing the truth here. I'm talking about knowing your truth here and not willing to let it go for some short-sighted reward. Okay. We are fiercely committed to knowing the truth. It's work just to get to know what the truth is inside, let alone express it and live it. Can we agree on that? All right, darling. Okay. So did she just, oh, funny. I know it does look a little, all right, I'm going to erase that. Oh, someone's making a joke in a reference to that. So yeah, it's distracting. We'll come back to it. All right, the 4D. So the stories are either liberating or they're shutting you down. Or and in the shutting down, when there's energy shut down in the 4D, it starts to collapse in on itself, and it creates a dark vortex, a vortex of energy, just going in, collapsing. So and there's a lot of people that have life force invested in that vortex that's collapsing. So they're losing life force energy. You're losing emotional, mental, spiritual energy to these lies, to these control systems that are designed to, disempower us. And the reason why that's an important thing to keep in mind is that it's a momentum. Once you're losing energy to something, it's a momentum. Now you have like a river or a stream going in a particular direction, and it's not so easy just to stop the stream because there's already, momentum going in that way. So there's a lot of personal work that reclamation that needs to happen in order to stop the stream. Sometimes the stream that you have going on it's happening in the 4D, but it didn't start in the 4D. It actually started up here in the Akasha, in the soul's journey. So in that process of reclamation, pulling your energy out from that vortex that's sucking the life out of you, right? And there's that, and getting that momentum going. A lot of times you have to go past who you think you are into the Akasha to get to the construct that has that energy drain there in the first place. And an example of this would be a ceremonial vow that's been taken. That could be a ceremonial vow a vow of poverty, to serve the Lord, a vow to a mate, a vow to a village, a vow to an organization. Okay. When you do things ceremonially, you are doing it in a multidimensional space, and you're declaring things throughout time and space. You may not be aware of that, but the people creating the ceremony and doing it on some level are aware, right? So it's like these things leave marks, leave records in your Akasha. You promised with all of your heart and soul to always serve. That's going to leave a record in your Akasha. And that organizing force is now part of your here and now experience, no matter how long ago it may seem like it happened. Because time is really a reality that happens from here down. From here up, there is no time. There's just a beingness. So when you are traveling through that fractality, right? You're in the wholeness of all infinite nature of who you are, and then you're going through fractality. The whole fractality throughout time and space is affecting your here and now. And say you clean up some stuff in the Akasha, you clean up the agreements that you have there, and you're no longer losing some energy in that 4D field. So now you're like this in your fractality. And now this is the shape, this is the design, this is the map that is in the organizing force informing your next here and now moment. Okay. So you can clean up a lot of things that look like they're in the past that will change your here and now moment. Why? Because it's actually happening simultaneously, everything. So it's like you're experiencing fragmentation like this. Then the next moment it's like this. Then the next moment like this. And then the next moment like this. And then the next moment like this. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the here and now moment has so much potential within it. When you're aware of all these levels, you can shift the nesting dolls that are creating you here and now by doing something as simple as forgiving the beings that lied to you and told you that they were God. Forgive them. You see what I mean? So that now you can let that go and no longer be a part of it on a soul level. And that's going to change your belief system in the here and now. Okay. So addressing things, like waking up all these levels of who you are and addressing things on the appropriate nesting doll level is very, very potent for directing your life, for having sovereignty and freedom in your life. It gives you a lot more choices. It's no longer this or that, or one crappy choice and another crappy choice. What do they call that? Ooh, it's not about, a rock and a hard place. Okay, what else? When you are seeing everything through the lens of who you think you are as a human, that might be all you have. But as soon as you open your awareness to who you are on a soul level and seeing the nesting doll that's creating certain circumstances that are in this Akasha, now you have a different choice. And all of a sudden, door number 3 just arrived. Okay. And then maybe you start to sense a draw, a tone within you, and you tune into the tone, and the tone takes you to somewhere in the universe, or, things like that, things like that happen when you're in meditation. And now you just completely shifted your soul song, which also shifts the blueprint, which also shifts what you're having in the Akasha. So things like that can occur. Okay. So you see where I'm going. It's like the more lenses you open, the more choices become available. The more, the broader spectrum of kinds of actions, impactful actions you can take become revealed. Okay, so I just jumped up to 7D. Let me back up a little bit. So we have our Akasha, 5D, the soul's journey. Then you have the 6D, which is your light body blueprint, the actual mapping out of what your expansion and fractality and back again is going to be, or is what it is in the Milky Way galaxy. Okay, so when so what the shamans of old discovered is that there's an upper world, but then there's different layers in this upper world, and depending on where you go in the upper world and do things, that's going to impact certain aspects of the human experience. So they started going, the lineage that I studied with started going beyond the soul and start looking at the blueprint, the light that is actually creating the perception of the soul's journey. And that's this light body. They also call it the divine blueprint. That's also another word. So the light body is perfect, but it also has things within it that are trials and tribulations. It's not all about roses and unicorns. It's about having experiences, exploring who you are, exploring all the possibilities that you can be. That's what that's about. So it's not just the beauty in life that's in your blueprint. All the ways that you're going to, the suffering, the dying, the ways you'll lose yourself, all these different things that you experience down here as, harm and pain and all this stuff, all that is in the blueprint too. So what the Masters of Living Energy began to do was pull out parts of the blueprint that were behind disease, that were behind illness, that were behind tragedies. And in that, they discovered how quickly they were shifting the reality for people. So on a human level, the ones, how I know it got discovered was something like this. And then, of course, there's Barbara Hanclau, who brought this model forward that, helped anchor that in my understanding even more. All right, so that's the blueprint of your light body. And then what is the precursor to the light form? It's the sound. It's your soul song. This is also the galactic highways of light. And this is an important association to make. I'm making a correlation between the soul song and the galactic highways of light, the stellar networks. Okay, and this is why. Okay. The stellar networks, the starlight that goes through these pathways, let's call it, is consciousness. And it creates an entire web of consciousness. And in reality, who we are is this entire web is within the nesting doll of who we are. So when we're talking soul song, we're talking a part of you, a part of identity that's echoing through this entire web of creation. Okay, this web is massive, and it's massive because you're in more places than just the here and now. Okay, your soul song, remember that fractality thing? Here's your soul song, and here's the fractality. Okay, so maybe this is you on the Pleiades, and this is you in Sirius, and this is you on Earth, and this is you as a Draconin, and this is you as an insectoid in a whole nother universe reality somewhere. All expressions of the same soul song. You see? So when you are tapping into this level, very often people report this vastness, a vast network of sound, a web, stuff like this. So the stellar networks and soul song are very closely tied together as you wake up to these other levels of who you are. And in that, you start waking up to that big yes of why you're even having the journey that you're having as an infinite being. Like the different councils, creation councils you've been on. Many of us who are waking up as multidimensionals right now have been on the councils of the LOM, or on the councils of the Galactic Federation, or on the councils of the Creator Source Star Elders. You know what I mean? So it's like, the more we wake up to these levels, the more we wake up to our participation in these nesting dolls. Okay. And as you wake up to these outer nesting dolls of your participation, what happens is that all ideas, all victim stories melt away, because then you realize that there is no victimhood here at all on these levels. The victimhood happens down here with the stories and the lies, because we're disconnected from who we are. But really, these biosuits were created and meant to hold our infinite consciousness within the body, to have this 3D experience. It's meant to hold our infinite nature. Right now, it's returning to holding our infinite nature because of all the lies and everything. It shut down our DNA, and we in our biosuits weren't able to hold our infinite nature. But now that all the DNA upgrades that are happening, all the Lightbody upgrades that are happening, coming in from the sun, from the different planets in our solar ring, and so on and so forth, all those are bringing, all that light is bringing new encodements that's changing our blueprint, that's changing our DNA, which is changing that vessel. So more and more and more is available to us on a consciousness level. So now, say you're fractalized like this, soul song, and you're all these beings, and now you can integrate and collapse realities and timelines by bringing all those different scattered parts of yourself to the pinpoint of the here and now, because now your biosuit can accommodate that density, that quantum of consciousness, when before it only can handle this, right? So please, yeah, just sit with that. That was a big download. Because this is how we're changing the reality that we walk. This is why it's already a done deal. Even if we decide to be completely apathetic and do nothing and let the world tear itself apart, it's a done deal. There's nothing we can do to stop it. There's lots we can do to make it a wild, exciting, and graceful ride. Okay. All right. 8D. All that is consciousness. This is where a lot of people think this is God. The all that is consciousness. You are a child of God. This is what, the stories are told, right? So this is an all that is. This is a fabric. This is something that is within a breath that is in everything without exception. So whether you're dark or light or whatever, you are part of the isness. There is nothing that's not part of the isness. Okay. So even the most evil person in the world has a stable and solid connection to the isness. It's absolutely unconditional, the isness. You couldn't be an infinite being in the universe without the isness. You couldn't be an infinite being on a planet without the isness, or in a body without the isness. You could not be so at all without the isness. So there's no beings that are without this. So that includes all the ones that people want to say that are evil and do these terrible things. It's like they are part of the isness. So that means that there is a part of their nature that we must see, honor, and acknowledge. Okay. We cannot take this whole group over here and say, you are evil beings, damn you to hell, blah, 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 to destruction with you, right? We can't do that and be in the truth, be in our truth. Okay. Because then that's us doing, rejecting isness. We can't reject isness. It is. Okay. So we are navigating as multidimensional beings in a biosuit. What is the right relationship here where I can be with what is, and what is the truth of what is, without rejecting it, without making it wrong, without investing energy to it, without being disempowered by it. Okay. And that is a very, very artful thing. It's very artful. Compassion is a huge piece here. And that's up here, 9D, the center of the Milky Way galaxy. This is the endless fountain of compassion, what some might call the Kuan Yin, the jar of Kuan Yin, okay? Endless, infinite compassion that pours out from the galactic mind. The galactic mind, as humans, we have a relationship with it. Well, we have a relationship with it in many forms, but the one that I resonate with is Kuan Yin, Guan Yin. So, so that infinite compassion, when you're awoke to that and all these levels at the same time, you can see now how there's something very different unfolding in front of us than the drama that, you know, that has everybody's attention. Right now, everybody's focused on the Rona, everybody's focused on the election, or there's so much drama I can't even tell you. You guys know, right? All of that is when you're open to these levels and living this in your life, all of that is so pointless. I can't even, not even interesting. Okay. Now I find that I wonder why sometimes I get involved, and I get involved because I'm curious about the humans that are involved, you know, and because I just want to make contact with that so I can have more understanding. It helps me deal with being human by understanding other humans, yeah, and what motivates them and why they do what they do. Oh, good. All right, this is a little bit too close. I had more space. Let me draw that over. It's too close for comfort here. All right, I'm getting to the water and to the void space. I am. Hold on. There's a lot to cover here, guys. And I guess I'm going slow. I'm going slow with the activation this time. Sometimes I breeze right through it. There we go. That, yeah, I like that space better. Yes, okay. This is 1D, the center of the earth, the telluric realm, everything between the center and the crust. 3D, our linear space-time here. And we have our 4D canopy. And then this canopy right here could be, it's in the atmosphere. It's all around us. It's around us on a collective level. It's also around us on the micro level. So it's the collective atmosphere. It's the region of atmosphere around a country, around a town, around a village, around a house, around a person. Okay, this canopy is. It's also around the cells. As our dear brother Bruce Lipton did wonderful work discovering that it's actually the health of the cell is decided by the outside of the cell, and that it is your beliefs that you hold within you that tells the cell, that influences the cell of how healthy and well it's going to be, because it's going to make different choices of what molecules to bring into itself. Okay. So to me, I feel like that's the scientific validation of this 4D field on the cellular level. Okay. And then you have the upper dimensions, 5D, 6D. Okay. And this is where the power of story really can be seen. Okay. So when you have a story that opens the mind and opens the heart, that story is going to lift you into these other frequencies of awareness. Okay. The key is, though, to have an open heart. You really need to be able to open your heart space and relax in that loving space in order to glimpse the infinite, in order to glimpse that which is outside of time. So stories are really potent in this. Okay. All right. I'm deciding on how to break down these last pieces here. Okay. So getting to Laurel's question, that was the last question, but I'm going to be answering that first. Getting back to her question about the entourage and integrating with these beings and what is this about? Okay, I started to touch on it a little bit when I was going into that fractality thing, but here this is how it is. All right, so all of us have an entourage of beings, an entourage of interdimensional beings. All of us do. Every single human on this planet has an entourage. Now, most humans aren't aware of their entourage because they're not taught about it. And in fact, they're actually taught belief systems that blinds them to having an entourage. Okay. The kinds of things that blind people to having an entourage is, like magic doesn't exist, fairies don't exist, nature spirits don't exist, or they're evil. Okay. There's no past lives there. Once you're dead, there's no soul, stuff like this. we are surrounded by beings constantly, and some of them are working for our good, some aren't. Some are, have an agenda, like we're sent to work with us from another person's agenda, stuff like this. Now, this layer of disempowerment is like through here, but up here, it's totally okay because it's already been agreed upon and designed. It's part of the grand design. But here, we experience it in more suffering type of way. So the beings, the benevolent beings that are around all humans are things like the nature spirit that is your guardian, your natural guardian that the earth assigns you when you come to this realm. Yes, Pachamama, Mother Earth assigns you a guardian. Okay. Now, I'm taught different versions of this from the different lineages that I've worked with, but in general, there's a couple layers to it. The nature spirit that is assigned to you is a very large nature spirit. It's not a little tree or something. It's something that withstands time, something that is ageless, something ancient, beyond time. So it's more of like a mountain, or major fixture in a landscape, an ocean, stuff like this. So everybody gets a nature spirit that is assigned to them to hold them in their agreements in their life with the Pachamama. Okay. And then there's spirits that are your ancestors. Now, I don't mean disincarnated ghosts. I'm talking about the actual love and connection you have with the river of life that has brought you into this world. Okay. And I'm pointing to the Akasha. That river of life is so because of what the agreements are on the Akashic level. These agreements happened before you came to this planet. You agreed to be a part of a lineage, to have these certain parents, to be a part of this certain family. And very often souls repeat themselves within lineages. Okay, so this kind of connection that we have is very, very deep. Now, to a Westerner, that's going to sound strange because a lot of Westerners, our families are separated and often they don't get along. There's a lot of drama, there's stuff like this. So the family unit is not as strong in Western culture as it is in more Eastern cultures. It's not unusual to have a family altar in a home where you burn incense and light a candle for your ancestors. That's like a very normal thing to have in a lot of cultures, maybe and not so much in Western culture. Okay, so there's those kinds of spirits that are also guardians. But then you have star tribes. You have beings that hold a particular consciousness that's connected to star lineage. So this is your star parents, so to speak. Okay, the star parents are the ones that are part of that blueprint of bringing you into the here and now. Okay, so they're part of the fractality process, and they're also part of the reclamation process as well. So there's those kinds of nature spirits that are looking out for you. And yes, people think stars is very disconnected from Earth, but it's not. The stars, the universe, all the beings within it are reflected by the natural world that's around us. It's a part of nature. The cosmic mind is a part of nature. The galactic mind is a part of nature. Del Sol, the sun, is a part of nature. It's not separate. Just like we are not separate. We are a part of nature. We're part of the nature of the earth. We're part of nature in the cosmos. We're a natural part. So integrating in with these other beings, I'm talking about with this fractality, I'm talking about bringing these things together to focus your quantum on this pinpoint right here, the here and now moment inside your body. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So that might feel like integrating with your Pleiadian aspect, or it might feel like integrating with the Sasquatch aspect, or whatever. There's a huge spectrum of what it can be. But when you do this, you're eliminating the fractality and you're becoming more and more focused on that pinpoint moment in the body. And this is a really, really powerful thing to do because you are collapsing realities and timelines on multiple dimensional levels. So on all these different nesting doll levels, you're collapsing previous agreements, previous creations, previous councils, stuff like this. And this is a very special time right now on this planet, because this is when we can absolutely anything that has been done can be undone right now. And this is a very unique time. This has not been available en masse for ages, epochs, eons, I want to say. Okay. So this is getting me to the void space. Is that a real space? Absolutely it is. And that void space has become more and more available to humans than ever before. Now, in the past, being able to access the void space was a deeply held secret. It was a mystery, and that you could only discover that mystery when working with a master. And that master would have to give you a transmission, a light body encodement, to unlock the barriers between your consciousness and the void space. Does this make sense what I'm saying? Okay. So this is a monumental thing for humans to have access to. All we need to do is relax our nervous system, connect with the natural rhythms inside, slow down, and then we can drop right into the void space. Okay, so this has not been the norm in the past. The void space was something that someone very, very disciplined and cultivated within a lineage accessed. Okay, but now it's available en masse to everybody. I'm not saying it doesn't make it special, because it absolutely does, because accessing that void space on the cosmic arena is that you're going past the isness, past the mind, the galactic mind, and into pure potential creation. Okay, there's that. The other thing that happens with this void space, it's also your energy, your consciousness going so deep, penetrating that 4D field around the cell and going all the way to the empty space within the atom. Also a place of pure potential and creation. Okay. Another really useful way to work with the void space, or I'm sorry, let me change the way I'm saying this. I'm saying it backwards. Another thing that's really valuable, another reason why the void space is really valuable for us, is that when we are interacting with malicious AI entities, a malicious AI entity cannot penetrate the void space. They stop right here. Okay, the technology cannot penetrate the void space. Now, why is this important? And I'm not trying to freak you guys out. There's lots of different layers of AI that's interacting with humans and spiritual beings. Okay, lots of layers. People are waking up to it more and more and more. I'm saying this so you guys understand where your empowerment is in relationship to these kinds of beings. Okay, that's why I'm saying it. So when you're in that void space, you can reset anything. You can reset anything. You can go into your liver, into the void space within the cells of your liver, and reset the pattern being held by your liver space. Okay. You can do this for your body. You can do this for your soul's journey. You can do this for an entire galaxy. Okay. And this is because all of it is inside of you. All of it is inside of you. So this void space is like the creme de la creme when it comes to accessing liberation and consciousness. There's nothing there but you. It's just empty space and your awareness. And that's all. Massive freedom. When I go to those places, my heart gets very, very big. And I oscillate from being in complete bliss into being in void. You know, I'll go back and forth between being in bliss state to being in void state. And that is, that's just something I've observed when I'm experiencing it. So, dear sister, it is a real place. Now, there's also places that are blank spaces, and that's something different. A blank space is like, you know, it's like creating a place of emptiness so you can see and explore something, okay, with better clarity. Because as you guys know, all these nesting dolls of reality, all these nesting dolls of creative forces influence. So it's very hard sometimes to see something clearly because of all these nesting dolls of influence. But if you remove the nesting dolls of influence and just isolate that one thing, now you can have all these different perspectives available to you. You see? So there's that kind of thing. Oh boy, let me check in, see how we're doing. I know I'm always taking a long time, aren't I? I swear I used to be really good at keeping things on time. All right, darling sister Ella, yay, you made it. All right, Mercury, okay, each time you go over the dimensions, fabulous. Okay, thank you, darling, for that. Miracles happen every single day. They sure do. All right, I'm enjoying the light accenting the nesting doll drawing. Oh, my window. Yeah. You know, it's a super smoky, cloudy day, but for some reason the sun still makes it here. All right, Elaine, hello. Alana, hello, love. All right, Christina, yay, you're here. Gonna have to rewatch. Okay, yep. Void space equals safe haven. Yes, trance states. Okay. Trance states. So trance states are different. Trance states are, that's actually a very complicated issue because it depends on the nesting dolls that you've created that facilitates this trance state. A lot of time trance states are initiated through ceremony. So you have, you know, the beings that you've called in the different directions. There's the drumming or the elementals that you've invited. You know what I mean? There's all these nesting dolls. So when you're creating a ceremonial space, you're layering layer upon layer upon layer, a different set of organizing forces than just the ones that are in the, you know, that we experience in the everyday 3D. That's why I call ceremony as is creating a hyperdimensional space, is because you're no longer in the rules of 3D, you're now in the mystical. And not only are you in the mystical, you have, you've purposely called forward beings that you have relationship with that create additional nesting dolls to hold the space and influence the reality of what happens inside that nesting doll. What happens inside that nesting doll? It could be initiations, it could be transmissions, it could be healing. You know, there's anything that the purpose is. It could be giving birth. It could be, you know, doing anything. So the ceremony is really powerful in this way. And I'm getting to the water piece. It's taken me some time to get there. So ceremony, when you have all these nesting dolls, if you have a very skilled ceremonialist, as in they have lots of relationship with other aspects of their being and other beings on these realms, you can collect all these beings in such a way to create a miracle that's in the inner nesting doll. Okay. But also what that inner nesting doll is, it's creating a different cup to pull forward an intention, to pull forward a reality. Okay, so this is really important, especially when you're talking about water, because when you're pulling something through realities, through that fractality, water is the vehicle for consciousness that holds the consciousness, so it can travel through these realms. Okay, so it can go deeper into physicality. So, or back home again, or to an alternate universe over here. Water is also the vehicle for this. There's lots of movies that gave big tells for this. One of them, the one that's coming to my mind is that movie Constantine. You know, every time he needed to go into the hell realm or something, he needed water. I think one time he stared into a cat's eyes, but and that's because water is magical. It's a substance that is not. It's not just water. It's not just oxygen and hydrogen. Okay, H2O. So that's 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. Now, if you guys remember from past chats, those of you who've been around for a while, on an elemental level, 2D level, these 2 elements represent love and gratitude. They hold the vibration of love. That's oxygen. This is one of the many reasons why on a mystical level, increasing your oxygen intake is so potent for the biosuit. The other thing that happens is that when you increase the oxygen intake of a biosuit and they're absorbing it and it's going into the cells, you'll actually exorcise entities and demons from that person, because the oxygen, the love energy that's integrating into your system pushes their energy out. So, and actually I had a story, I have a story for this. Oh, it's such a great story. A gentleman, a healer gentleman that I know, that I met, and I can't remember which stage that we met that he told me the story, but he works with a government agency, and he has an ozone generator in his office, in his cubicle or whatever. And he was remarking that he knew that the guy that was in charge of his department was a reptilian, because every time that he would come into his cubicle, he would start coughing. The boss would start coughing, and he couldn't spend much time in his, in his little cubicle office. And he said it was because of the oxygen. And then someone made the comment of, it would be really interesting to see what kinds of laws would get passed in the Senate and written in Congress if their oxygen mixture in their building was above, I think the number was 30%. Okay. So I don't know. I thought that was an interesting conversation. So I've actually seen this happen on, there's a device that I have called the Chi machine, who I love. Those of you that know me know that I'm mad about this machine. I just love it. And I mean, it has its mechanical qualities, but it has a lot of mystical qualities, which is really why I love it so much. But but I've seen this by putting people on that Chi machine for certain amounts of time, where it maximizes, it exponentially enhances the amount of oxygen your body can absorb. I've actually seen demonic entities rise up out of people just by being on the Chi machine for like 5 minutes, So I've had many experiences backing up this concept of oxygen being love and it having a profound impact on the body. Okay, so oxygen holds the energy of love, and hydrogen holds the energy of gratitude. So when you are receiving love, there's gratitude for where the source of the love, right? And then there's an extra gratitude here to carry it on to the next. Okay. So in this way, water is always about momentum moving forward. You know what I mean? It's momentum moving because of that extra gratitude. You guys know when you shower something with gratitude, it becomes healthier, more vibrant. If they're a person, they feel better. If they're a plant, they'll start growing more strongly, stuff like this. So gratitude is a really powerful force that humans are capable of influencing their reality with. So there's that kind of principle with water. Now, I've been to places where the water was almost through the entire country, where the water was so pristine and so pure, and it has such an impact on the collective. It has such an impact on the nature around it when there's pure water like that running through the lands, or collecting in pools or waterfalls, stuff like this. And there's lots of ancient beings that took advantage of that. And one of them being the ant people. The ant people, major part of the technology is working with rivers and aquifers. So, but the water needs to be mature. It needs to be pristine. When I say pristine, it's not contaminated with stuff, contamination. How does it happen? It happens by humans not being accountable. Okay. Humans not being accountable for the environment they're creating. Okay. That's the real contaminant here. So when humans are not being responsible, and they're taking lie programs, like say greed, over the health and wealth of their land, okay, then that is poisoning the environment. It's poisoning the water, and it poisons the collective conscious and the nature around it. So you can actually connect with the consciousness of a body of water and feed it. You can feed it gratitude. You can feed it whatever the encodements are. You can feed it over and over again, and it will hold that energy. It will start to come to life because it has that forward moving gratitude within it, okay, within its cellular structure. So water is liquid crystal and is highly programmable. And when you have a lot of benevolent frequencies programmed into water, it will influence everything around it. Everything will get influenced around it. So you can shift the consciousness of a village by cleaning up its water supply of the river that runs through it. You can heal imbalances within the natural world by working with the waters. You can heal the body by working with the waters of the body. There's devices. I was recently exposed to a device. Dear Sister Laura, And we were playing, we have these little devices, medical devices, frequency devices, and we were playing with. And when I was over her house, this was a while ago, darling. It wasn't, I'm thinking it was just last week, but it was a few months ago. So we're playing with the device. Then she pulls out another device that she had that was all about exposing the water molecules in the body to a frequency that creates harmonic crystalline structures, that organizes the water in a very clean, pure way like that. And that device is considered a healing device. There's a lot, it's by rearranging the water molecules to be in a more harmonic, arranged way like this will bring healing into the body. It'll shift your consciousness. It'll shift, it'll bring your awareness to the places that you might be holding on to, things that are contributing to your illness. So water is a profound element. Water. Okay, let's back up for a second. So water is also, for human consciousness, holds realms together. So for example, when I say hold realms together, I'm like, say this realm here and this realm here. Okay, all these different realms. When you have space, which is this 3D, when you have space, only when you have space can you cultivate an experience for a being to be separated from its source, from its infinite level of being. You have to have space, right? And this 4D adds stuff into it. And then now that space has created a platform for humans or whatever being to have experiences of being disconnected from themselves, from their infinite nature. That delusion is impossible, absolutely impossible to apply to beings that live in water. Because when you are in water, you are inseparably connected to all of this. Okay. This is why the dolphins and whales never went to sleep. This is why they can't, no matter how much drama they get put through, they can never shut down. They can never disconnect from source. They are a permanent part of source in an individuated body on this planet. Okay. Now we humans, we come out of the water onto space, empty space. And that is what creates the room for these belief systems to get put in place that blind us from ourselves and creates our experience of disconnection. You see, now I'm saying experience of disconnection because really you're only disconnected in these two places. You're not disconnected here or here or here or here or here or here or here. Okay. You have to have that empty space in order for disconnection to be experienced. I hope this is helpful, darling. You guys let me know. I'm going to scroll through, say hello, darling. There are some alternative docs. This says Facebook user. I don't have the name. Some alternative docs are prescribing hyperbaric medicine for allergies, hyperactivity, and autism. Yes, hyperbaric chambers are really, the applicability has really grown. They also use it to treat wounds, like diabetes. People have really bad diabetes and their legs start to go gangrene and stuff like this, So, and also for those of you who are at optimal brain function, this is what one of my teachers did this, and I thought it was brilliant. I never did it, but now I know where there's a hyperbaric chamber here in Denver, so I'm going to try it. And what he talked about doing was, so he got involved with a brain doctor, and they kind of collaborated on how to optimize the human biosuit and the brain and all the stuff. And he's been on a healing journey for many years, cured himself of pancreatic cancer actually, and so anyway, so what he was doing was he would inject 250 cc's of glutathione, which is a really powerful antioxidant, guys. Excuse me. Those of you who have leaky gut, you want to know about glutathione. So he would inject glutathione, which would create clarity, but then he would go into a hyperbaric chamber while his system was integrating with the glutathione, and he would have he would have super, let's say, multidimensional meditative experiences. So he will be in the hyperbaric chamber for an hour with ×2 or ×3 atmosphere, concentrated oxygen, and it would oxygenate his mitochondria in the cells. So you have trillions of cells, which means you have trillions of mitochondria. And that mitochondria creates ATP, creates energy, creates light. And so with the oxygen, the super concentrated oxygen in conjunction with the glutathione, it would make that mitochondria hyperactive, and he would become super illuminated, multidimensionally super illuminated while in the chamber. And he would dream forward the next book that he was going to write, or the next, whatever project he was going to start. And the whole thing, he would become illuminated within. He would download it, totally download it, actually, or upload, however you want to see that, from the illumination within, exit the chamber, and then make it so. Do it. He would actually have the whole thing mapped out and written out in his biosuit, in his subconscious, in his head, and his awareness is touching part of it. And then through the taking the action, right, he's giving the fire expression, it creates momentum, and that momentum carries him forward and gives him all the energy he needs to see the deal to the end, whether it be a book or a project. Yeah, isn't that cool? Talk about master creator, right? So there are lots and lots of things available to us, the human race, to do what it is we want to do in this life. We do not have to play by the rules that people tell us we have to play by. It's okay to make up your own rules. I promise. I promise. It's okay. Okay, went a little over. Sorry, guys, for that. I just wanted to complete those thoughts. And let's see. Yeah, I just wanted to complete those thoughts. Hopefully I was able to cover all those with some good responses to help liberate you guys and give you some more things to chew on and think about. Oh, here we go. One more comment. Dear sister says, learn what I learn every time. Oh, love. I think that's love. Love what I learn every time I watch. Could you share your insight on what someone could do for cysts in a breast? Oh, okay. All right. So first, I have to say, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not fit to give medical advice. Okay. I'm a mystical being, and I talk about mystical stuff. Okay. And I have a lot of stories of healing journeys, but I'm not a doctor. So when it comes to correcting things within the biosuit, it's very, very important to get clear on your compass so you can follow what's right for you. Okay. With all that said, in general, this is in general, I'm not saying specifically, and I'm not specifically tracking you, darling. I'm just saying this in general. When you have issues going on in the breasts, a lot of times what that is connecting to is you giving energy and nurturing stuff that is not in alignment with your truth. Okay. So it's like nurturing a relationship that you don't want to be in, or you know what I mean? Nurturing, feeding life force energy into a project that you don't really want to be a part of, stuff like that. When you have a lot of training and conditioning in your life that makes that compass not so clear, a lot of times we just do things because we're obligated. But if you live a life of obligation and you're not balancing that out with what your truth is, then that's going to manifest as certain kinds of diseases. So being aware of that kind of thing is very important. But when, any part of my body that I want to heal, because right now I have I'm visiting kidney stuff that goes back and forth. I pay attention to that organ. I pay attention to that area of the body. I will smile into it. I'll go into that void space. I'll smile into it. I will do forgiveness practice with it. I will, you know what I mean? I'll just give I'll set a specific amount of time in my day to give it all of my bandwidth and attention and my love and my appreciation and my connection and stuff like that. And when you're doing that, messages will come to you, like the tissues, the information that's on the cellular realm of the body will start showing you things. Like you'll start having memories from childhood come up, or I remember just recently when I was working with my kidneys, I had some thoughts about my step family that I haven't thought of in decades. That came up. Okay, there's action to do, but there's a lot of listening to do. There's a lot of paying attention that needs to happen when you're doing your own self-healing, because we have ideas about things, but we can't really know until the body tells us, until that data comes to us from the cells. Then we can see what it is. Then we can, you know what I mean? A lot of us we're kind of scared, and we'll go into formulas that worked for other people. And, and that might work for you, but if it's not working for you, it's important to notice that it's not working and then tweak it the way you need to tweak it, the way your intuition tells you to tweak it. Okay. I know that different things for me sometimes work, sometimes don't. Something that was always been a go-to, one day all of a sudden doesn't work. And then I'm like, okay, I need to figure something else out for that. Right. So listening and adjusting according to the response you get is vital to that healing process. So you're really meeting the energy where you need to meet it for deep healing to occur. Okay. So that's my way. That's the way I would do it. All right, darling. Thank you so much for that. Oh, dear sister's adding in. Oh, thank you, Christina. Thank you. Love that. Thank you. All right, darling. I'm going to go for today. Thank you guys so much for being here and sending me your questions and being a part of the conversation. It really is my honor to share this with you. You guys, this is such a special community, and I feel so privileged really to be a part of it. So thank you guys for making it amazing. And I'll see you guys next time. It might be next week, or I might have a rant before that. Either way, I'll see you. Okay. Bye. Bye, darlings. Well, I'm just lingering here because my computer is thinking and not doing what it needs to do.